Hey everyone, March J8 here, bringing you guys the Monday Music Recap, recap the events from last week. Let's get into it. One of the biggest stories of last week was, of course, the unfortunate and devastating passing of Soundgarden vocalist Chris Cornell, who passed away on May 17th after a show in Detroit over what the autopsy has ruled as hanging by suicide. Since I went over the story last week in a news flash, some new details have been made public. The police report has actually been released to Detroit News, and that actually gives a pretty good idea of the events following Cornell after the show and how they actually transpired. Just a quick summary of it, the band got out of the show around 11:15 and got to the MGM where they were staying about 15 minutes later. Martin Kirsten, the band's bodyguard, helps fix Cornell's computer and then gives him 2 doses of Ativan, prescription anti-anxiety drug. Keep this in mind for later. At around 11:35 is when Cornell was on the phone with his wife, and Kirsten gets a call from Cornell's wife around 12:15 to check on Chris. He goes to the room and found the front door was locked, so he calls security to try and gain access. They refused to let him in because he wasn't registered to the room, so he kicked down the door. He then found that the bedroom door was also latched, so again he called security to try and gain access, and they again refused. Superb fucking job on security's part in this one, guys. Real grade A employee of the month material right there. So he went back and kicked down that door as well, and what he found, according to the report, was Cornell on the bathroom floor with blood running from his mouth and red exercise band around his neck. MGM medical staff Dawn Jones arrived around 12:56 and removed the band around his neck and began to perform CPR. Shortly after, around 1 a.m., EMS Unit 42 arrived and their emergency medical technician also began to perform CPR, but both attempts were unfortunately unsuccessful. And by 1:30 a.m., Chris Cornell was pronounced dead by the doctor on scene. So there's that part, and there's Chris Cornell's family and their lawyer releasing a statement regarding the ruling of the autopsy report that also came out. In it, Cornell's family are actually disputing the suicide ruling, with their lawyer releasing a statement via Pitchfork that reads, "The family believes that if Chris took his life, he did not know what he was doing, and that drugs or other substances may have affected his actions. Without the results of the toxicology test, we do not know what was going on with Chris, or if any substances contributed to his demise." Now, the drugs and substances referred to in the statement, I'm assuming, is primarily focusing on the prescription anti-anxiety drug known as Ativan, which, according to the statement, another statement, I should say, can cause paranoia or suicidal thoughts, slurred speech, and impaired judgment. Now, according to the statement released by Cornell's wife, Vicky, on May 19th, she had talked to him after the show and noticed that he was slurring his words and that, quote, he was different. He then told her that he may have taken an extra Ativan or two, to which she then contacted security to check on him, and we all know what happens next. In all, we're not going to know the full details on this until the toxicology report does come back. When it does, or if there is another update to the story, I will keep you guys informed. If you want to check out any of the statements, links will be below for you. Another story from last week that got a pretty big update is the Power Bottom story, where their member Ben Hopkins was accused of sexual assault that later led to their management group dropping them and then their record label, Polyvinyl Records, dropping them and pulling all of their music off major retailers like iTunes, Apple Music, Tidal, Google Play, and Amazon. The update is that the band, including Ben Hopkins, have all released statements regarding the accusations. We'll just go over Ben, seeing as the other two are pretty much rehashings of the previous statements. Ben claims that he and this individual who has been accusing him met back in March of 2016 after a show. They had a good time. They both decided to go back to the individual's house and engage in consensual sex. After that, they stayed in touch and had some semblance of an on and off relationship. Soon after, though, they didn't see much of each other, but they did keep in touch via text message, including up to March of this year, which is very important. Texts are a form of digital evidence. If those texts are legit, like he says they are, they could easily contradict the accusations made against him. But for the most part, he made it seem pretty clear that the relationship between him and this individual has always been on a positive level. There's never been, to his understanding, this negativity. He doesn't really understand where these accusations are coming from. Now, he could be full of shit. I don't know. But if you guys want to check out the statements, I will leave them all down below for you. Now, at this point, I still can't make any decisions on where I stand in all of this, and I, of course, still want to hear from you guys on where you stand in it. But what I can say is that, in my opinion, I am still against Polyvinyl's decision that they made over publicly dismissing the band and then pulling all of their music over these allegations. I understand that as a business, they have a right to make those calls, but they should have kept that behind the scenes rather than publicly releasing a statement over it as if it was fact and then proceeding to pull all the band's music from retailers. For one, I still think it's pretty fucking cowardly of Polyvinyl for dropping the band so quickly over internet allegations rather than waiting to hear the facts and the full story. That shows some real SJW bullshit right there, where their mindset is you're guilty of allegations until proven innocent. And I think bands need to take heed of that. A record label with that kind of mindset is not a record label that has the best interest of the artist at hand. Dismissing a band over bad rep is one thing. Destroying their income and essentially everything they've built so far in their career over anonymous allegations that still don't have much support behind it is fucking pathetic. If these claims had more merit to them, or if there was evidence provided for them, or if there was even a legal situation going on with it, I'd understand their decision, but there isn't. Right now, they're just internet allegations that this record label allowed to destroy a band's career. But let's have a conversation about it. You might completely disagree with me on that, and I'd love to hear why. Leave a comment down below. With that being said, let's move into some lighter news. We finally got the gameplay reveal for Destiny 2, and I went through and I watched the entire stream, and if I haven't already, I will at some point this week release a video of me talking about it and what's coming. There's going to be new weapon variants like miniguns and grenade launchers, which I'm sure PvP is going to absolutely love. Speaking of PvP, all the modes in PvP are now going to be 4v4, with a new attack and defend mode called Countdown. There's going to be new supers for all 3 character types. There's going to be 4 new locations: Earth, Neos, Io, and Titan. And there's a ton of other things. Check out more details on it below. Netflix has announced they will be releasing a new series which is going to be a prequel to The Dark Crystal. It's called The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. You can check out the teaser for it below. Star Ocean Till the End of Time, a game that I have definitely clocked in a shit ton of hours into, is coming to the PS4 on May 23rd. Ubisoft has announced Far Cry 5 and that more details will be coming on it soon. They haven't really revealed anything yet. I'm thinking that they're going to be waiting for E3 before they really reveal stuff on it. Silverstein has announced they'll be releasing their new album Dead Reflections on July 14th through Rise Records. Pre-order bundles and artwork can be found below. Textures has announced they are breaking up due to personal reasons and motives. They have announced, however, that they will be heading on a final tour, which you can check out the dates for below. Between the Buried and Me has announced they'll be heading on a 10th anniversary tour for their Colors album. All Get Out has announced they're heading on a new summer tour, along with tour dates with Taking Back Sunday and Every Time I Die, dates released. Youth and Revolt and Light Up the Sky has announced they're heading on a new co-headliner tour with support from Vesta Collide and Thousand Below, dates released. The Flatliners has announced they'll be heading on a new tour, dates released. PVRIS has announced they're heading on a new UK/Euro tour in November, dates released. Marilyn Manson has now announced he'll also be heading on a European tour this November. Dates released, any of the dates mentioned above, you can find them all below. And let's move into the new music of the week. We have Miss May I, Swallow Your Teeth, Teenage Bottle Rocket, Robocop is a Half-Breed, Sellout, 100th, Suffer, Hit the Lights, Anthem, Brian Dales of the Somerset, Young for the Summer, Vanish, Heaven Sent, Hellbound. And for new music videos, we have All Time Low, Nice to Know You, Memphis May Fire, Sever the Ties, Silverstein, Retrograde, Chuck Berry, Big Boys, Sworn In, Make It Hurt, Muse, Dig Down, 68, The Workers Are Few, While She Sleeps, Empire of the Silence, Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, So Close, Our Last Night, Broken Lives, Rancid, Telegraph Avenue, and Wester, Earthbound and Down. Thank you all for joining me for another episode of Monday Music Recap. I know that this one was probably one of the longer ones. There's a lot of updates this week, guys, but what can I say? But leave a like if you guys enjoyed, dislike if you didn't, subscribe if you want more, and I will see you all in the next one. Mars out.